Hey guys, I'm Asher, and today I am the guest spot for Paperboy. Thank you for having me and thank you for inviting me. This week's topic is injections and needles. Now, whether you're on T or you're going to go on T, needles are probably something that you've been thinking about. I'm 2 years and 7 months on hormone replacement therapy. I've been on injections the entire time. There are other options as far as going on testosterone. There's gels, pellets that are inserted under the skin, and some oral sublingual ones. But today we are going to talk about the injections. You might think that since I have piercings and tattoos, that shots are no big deal for me. Quite the contrary, actually. When I started on testosterone, I was doing subcutaneous, sub-Q shots. And what that means is it's done in the fat and not the muscle, which means that the needle doesn't go straight down. It goes at a 45-degree angle. The first 4 or 5 months on subcutaneous shots, I did them in my thighs. I went left and right every other week because I do my shots once a week. After a while, my fat started to redistribute and I couldn't really get a good grasp on where to do it on my legs. So at that point, my doctor suggested that I move to my stomach. I went to my stomach and did my shots there for the remainder of the year. After that, I talked about moving to intramuscular or IM shots with my doctor because I felt that my skin was tightening and it was harder to get the angle for sub-Q, and I just wanted to see if I would experience any difference in changes if I went from fat to muscle. At a little over a year and a couple months, I moved to intramuscular. And I went and I was taught how to do my shots all over again by my doctor, who taught me how to do the subcutaneous shots and then taught me how to do the IM shots. With an IM shot, you're going to be going straight down, like straight into the skin. Now, whether you do it on your butt or on your thigh, some people do it in the delt. You just have to make sure that you know how to do it properly, and your doctor and or clinic should help you. Now, if I had trouble doing my shots, which sometimes I do, there is actually a clinic that takes place every week. I can go to my clinic on a certain day, take my own testosterone and my own needles and stuff, and the nurse there will gladly do my shot for free. There are some places that will also do this, but will charge you a little bit every week to get your shots done. Now, if you're on insurance, this might not cost you anything, but sometimes it is out of pocket. You really just have to weigh the risk, like how much you want to just get your shot done with no anxiety, if you happen to have needle anxiety, or if you can do it at home. So, subcutaneous and IM both use different size needles for injecting. So when I moved from subcutaneous to IM, it was very intimidating. My shots had been pretty simple up till that point because I was using a pretty small little needle and it was only a little bit bigger than an insulin needle. Testosterone is a thick liquid, so I had to do my shot slowly when I did subcutaneous in my stomach, but that's okay. Now, when I did IM, the needle was longer for sure and definitely a little bit thicker. My shots actually go faster from the time that I push down on the plunger to the time that it's done. I still go from right to left and left to right as far as how to switch up my shots because I don't want to overwork the tissue on a certain leg. There's several ways to do your shot if you're having anxiety. Routine is probably going to be your best friend. Make sure you have a routine set up. If you do your shot in a certain room at a certain time, do it in that room at around the same time. Do you have to have a cup of coffee before you do your shot? Do that. If you have to watch a show in the background while you do your shot, do that. Make it a routine, that way it's familiar. Anything new can cause more stress. I remember one time I was doing my shot and my cat ran up and jumped over my stomach and my shoulder while I was pushing my needle into my thigh, and that was traumatic. My muscles tensed up, and I did bleed a little bit after that shot. That's not fun. There was a point um, after top surgery that I was pretty exhausted each week I would do my shot because it caused so much stress, and this was when I was doing IM. So my doctor said this was okay. I took a couple weeks off of doing IM and switched back to sub-Q. And I did that for about a month just because it had caused so much anxiety. And then I was able to switch back to intramuscular. Now, there are going to be times when maybe you didn't grab your syringes or your needles from your local clinic and you might have to go to a new clinic. I had to do this about a couple weeks ago. And I was nervous because I didn't know what to say. I had a prescription for them, but where I'm at, if you ask for a certain type and you know how you're using them, they usually just ask, well, what are these for? I don't feel like outing myself every time I get needles. I mean, granted, I might not see that person ever again, but it's important to me to not be outed. So I just clearly state that I have low testosterone. They should allow you to have your needles when you just clearly state that you have low testosterone, and this is for testosterone therapy. There are many cis guys out there that inject testosterone weekly because of low testosterone. Now, make sure you're really safe with your needles. It's pretty clear, but never reuse your needles. Never reuse your needles. You can get very sick, you can hurt yourself, and it's not alright. Now, as far as injecting goes, if you're doing IM, I noticed that after a couple months, it was really difficult because it would push in to my skin, but it was like I had to push really hard to like get it to pierce the top layer. Now, once it pierced the top layer, it was fine. It went in just great. So now I've been pulling it apart with two fingers like this before I push in, and it really creates a easier access point, and then I relax. Now, always pull back on the plunger. There's a lot of different research on whether you should or shouldn't. I've pulled back a few times and actually gotten a little bit of blood, so I just either pull out a little bit or push in a little bit, pull back again, and see that there's no blood, and then I just inject. Even if you do everything properly, perfect, and all of that, I have done great shots. Went in real easy, tried to keep my muscles really tense free, pulled back on the plunger. It was great, injected, and then waited a moment. I wait like a few seconds to make sure that it disperses a little bit so it doesn't maybe come right back out. Even though I always have like a paper towel handy to push down on it. I pull my needle out gently, carefully, and it bleeds. And at first it was really surprising because I was like, oh, my leg is bleeding, and not just a little bit. It was like, you know, and then it stopped pretty quickly, just put a little bit of pressure on it. One of the things that I found was that on the way out, you could nick a blood vessel, even if you injected properly. So sometimes that happens, and that's okay. You didn't lose all your tea. You don't need to inject again because that's not okay. You'll be getting a double dose. And if you did lose any, it's so minuscule that you're not going to feel it that week and you're going to be okay. All right, guys, I want to thank the people at Paperboy for giving me this opportunity and for allowing me to be here and talk to you guys. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Take care and feel free to like this video and subscribe if you would like to stick around and see more great content. All right, I'll talk to you all later. Bye.